us supernatural power to right those things that need to be uprooted. We need your power and your spirit, of God, to live in community with each other. Teach us and show us how to develop, how to work toward the love community. Teach us, oh God, how to advocate for our people and do things that are right and that are proper in your sight. Let us decrease as you increase with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And when that happens, we're certain we're going to be people, the city, and the community that you envision, and the good mind of this city envision as well. It's in the way that we pray, we give thanks, and we ask it all. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, I'm going to use my phone so I can stay on script and not talk off the record. And so we want to say welcome again, but we want you to be apprised as to why we're here. First of all, we all know, oh, this thing is talking back to me. Don't do that. But we all know that as residents of the city of Riviera Beach, Margaret, I'm going to say something that Margaret Mead said, and she didn't say it, I'm going to quote it, but she said it. And she said this: never doubt that a group of small concerned citizens could not change the world, because indeed that's the only thing it ever has. So tonight we come together collectively for one purpose, and that is to, we've already prayed, we come to create a plan, and we're going to propel forward with the things that concern us, our family, our community, and ultimately our city, to hold leadership accountable. So it's not a time to bash anybody, personally attack anybody, but to come structurally so our voices can be heard. And as you're here at the next meeting, we're entrusting that you would bring at least 5 other people with you. So I want to read this. The Community Empowered and Restored meeting aims to bring together local residents, business owners, and civic leaders to actively engage in building a stronger, more inclusive community. The purpose is to empower individuals to take ownership of their neighborhood's future, fostering transparency, accountability, and collaboration. This meeting serves as a platform for residents to voice their concerns, share ideas about improvement, and hold leadership accountable for creating sustainable and equitable change in the community. Tonight, before we leave, we're going to have these pledge cards. And what these pledge cards have is has some things on here that we're going to ask you to commit to. And what you're going to do, you're actually going to write your first and last name and your mailing address. Wherever you go to pick your mail up, that's what we want on this card. In the near future, we're going to mail this back to you as a reminder. Because how many know when change happens, you meet opposition? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, you're going to meet opposition. So when times get tough and you're like, I'm done, I ain't going to another meeting, they didn't hear my theme, and somebody said something, you got to remember that you're committed to this.
Yes.
Okay? You want this to put on your refrigerator, wherever you go the most, so you can remember this when you get it back. All right? So without...
Chandra, you want to go over what's on it for them?
Put my glasses on. Thank you. I'm trying to move it along, because I know...
Yeah.
Got a long way to go. Okay, that's not going to work. So it says, as resident stakeholders of Riviera Beach, we are committed to the growth, prosperity, and well-being of our city. We pledge to take ownership of our community's future and hold ourselves and our elected officials accountable for the present and future of our city. See something, say something is our pledge. Reverence of our city, the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, and why, and we go from there. I don't want to read the whole thing because I want the time to be your voices given together so we can have a dialogue. Without any further ado, we were scheduled to have...
We're going to do the who we are. Okay. We're going to move forward with it.
All right, so we'll go to Lady, go right from here, and we'll take your next step further.
So, good evening, everybody, and thank you all for coming out. My segment is dedicated to just kind of giving you a history of who we are as a community and what we've been, at least what I can recall community being for the last 48 years. Riviera Beach used to be a place where when you were employed by the city of Riviera Beach, when you lived in the city of Riviera Beach, there was an air of pride associated with doing so. If you worked for the city of Riviera Beach, it was the job to have. Many of us recall the infamous Doretha Perry had her human resources position for 40 years. People came to the city of Riviera Beach and worked there as a sense of, they were almost monuments in the community. There were some staples in the community. In addition to that, Arnold's Bakery. You had the Northern Telecoms, the Solatron group, and although they weren't always here planted in the city, it was a community of individuals that operated under the auspices of great pride. Everybody was primarily a legacy baby. The parents worked at the city, so the children got jobs at the city. There wasn't this idea of nepotism being a horrible thing. The city, as it was created and put together, was put together in the fashion that it would be a community ran by the community. When they wrote the original charter for the city of Riviera Beach, you had a situation where you did initially start out with managers who didn't necessarily look like the majority, but they were in agreement with rearing and raising assistant city managers that would allow for succession to roll in those positions. And the idea at that point was that people from the community would be raised in the community, they would bring forth talent in the community, and that talent would then be resourced and recycled back into the community. For whatever reason, the last 2 decades, things have changed. They have changed tremendously. There was an opportunity for us to kind of come together, and every opportunity that we had to do so, we did. The last couple of years or few years, there's been this air of divisiveness. And so the goal is just to remind us and set the stage for keeping in the forefront of our minds who exactly we are. Parts or elements in that pledge is something, it's written in such a way to trigger you to stay away from the narratives and the conversation centered around Riviera Beach not being a good place to be. Most like many other municipalities in close proximity to us, we have the same challenges. We have the same uphill climbs. It's just that the conversations had about how we deal with these situations seems to hit the news, and what happens as a result of that, the morale in the community is diminished. And because the morale is diminished, we then run into situations where you're having the not so positive conversations. And if you dwell on, or we put in our minds that this place isn't worth saving, then it's certainly going to become something that most people believe is worth taking from us. We are full of resource here in Riviera Beach. Some of the things that we've talked about in the past, and I'll just run through them. We are the only city on the Eastern Coastway that has a railroad, railways, ports, marina, intercoastal, the access to the ocean, the interstate. We have and we house 50 of the United States' top employers, just to name a few: Pepsi, Coke, FedEx, UPS, Cisco, Cheney Brothers, Serta Mattress. You're talking about Lockheed Martin in the unincorporated portions. Guys, 50 of the United States' most top populous and common employers are banked here. It's either their headquarters or their direct headquarters. They talk about in the Bible, and I'm not the best to refer back to it, but there's this thing about not being well received in your own hometown. We live here and don't even know about the wealth embedded in what we do every day coming in and out of this city. If we knew what we had, we would do different, we would be different, and for anybody that's not wanting to get in lock in step with what we're trying to accomplish, we would make them and hold them accountable to do different. You guys, I want to tell you about the Congress Corridor. When the Congress Corridor came to be, they also built out Military Trail. And in 2008, when the universe, at least the world economy as we know it, was crashing, Riviera Beach was thriving. We had a AAA plus credit rating. which meant we could borrow on just our face alone, the upward of $60 million. Can you imagine just being able to walk into a place and just say, my face is so good, we could borrow that untouched. At that time, there were only 38 municipalities in the county, but for whatever it is, and for a people of humble means, we had the best rating of all of those municipalities. And get this, we also had the best water quality. Imagine, when the world was falling and crumbling, we had a situation where along the Congress Corridor, you had Sonoma Bay, Villa Rosa, you had Thousand Oaks, Marsh Harbor. All of these things came up at the same time when everybody else was crashing as a result of ad valorem taxes not being there, and cities were taking furloughs. Our city flourished. That was because we had people from our community working in and out, dedicated, and while we may not have agreed with the politics and who was behind it, we were doing better than everybody else, and it looked a lot different. That is still very much a possibility for us where we are now. We have spent a lot of conversation, or spent a lot of time investing in conversation about what our legislation is not doing and what management is not doing. But the real question comes back to, and I think where we landed is, what are we doing? We can fuss, we can fight, but what are we doing? We have more degrees on this side of Broadway than 2 or 3 municipalities tied end to end. We have extraordinary education and people in our communities who are one of the onlys who do whatever they do. We have more than that than any other place in Palm Beach County. So with that, I think if we lead with pride, we end with pride, and then what we do in the in-between looks very different. So that's just a brief little history about who we are, and I hope we can lead with that as we try to progress through what comes next.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I'm Margaret Washington, and
Some of you know who I am, some of you don't, and that is great. But I'm going to give you a brief introduction to myself. When Michelle Obama said do something, I was already doing something. And I want to make sure that you guys join what we're doing. Tonight, we want to have a genuine discussion about what demands we like to see within our city. Some of us go up and have conversations as it relates to doing the public comments, and we may get off topic. We tend to stray off topic because we sit in there and somebody want to go up and say something before us, and we want to address that. But the key to what we're doing here is that we want to create a list of demands so that, guess what, we stay on topic when we're speaking at these community events, doing the meetings, so that the elected officials understand this is what we care about. All that mess, and I don't know if you guys watched the meeting yesterday, but if you watched the meeting yesterday, it was a lot of conversations about what should happen with the city manager, what should happen with the city manager, what should happen with the quality of our water. That's all I was thinking about as I watched it. I don't want that message to get lost. As of right now, our city has the worst quality of water in the county. If you stay west of Military Trail, your quality of water is the worst in the city. And if you are like me, you're tired of hearing it's always been that way as an excuse to why it should stay that way. If we lived in any other city, any other municipality, there's no way the state, the federal government would have allowed it to get to this point. There's no way they would allow the local government to continue to ignore it for so long. So that's why we're here this evening, is to come up with a list of demands and give residents an opportunity to speak, because as you know, and those who attend the council meetings, oftentimes those meetings run longer than they should. Agenda items are talked about longer than they have to, because they look at the crowd sometimes and see residents there to speak on a topic. If they prolong the meeting, they wait us out. So this is an opportunity for residents to get up and have that conversation, that genuine conversation. So if you want to get up and make a comment about anything that's going on as it relates to the city, let me tell you this, we're going to stay on top, because this meeting is going to be solution driven, not for complaints leadership, and that's okay. But we also know how to agree to disagree and communicate amongst ourselves, and we also know how to organize. The most prolific organizers came from the city of Riviera Beach. A lot of the first people in leadership came from the city of Riviera Beach. And that's not a mistake, that's not a coincidence, that's just what we've done. That's just what we do. Anytime we see something wrong, we respond. And we respond in a way of organizing our neighbors. And this is what we're doing here. So at this moment, if you are a resident, a stakeholder, business owner, anybody that's in attendance that have something to say that you think that we need to put on our list of demands, and as you see, you have a list of demands on the wall there. You have water quality, employee morale, our future. We have sticky notes here that we're going to hand out, but you also go onto the mic and speak about it, and we're jotting it down because we're here to listen to you. We're live streaming this so everybody else hear you. And then as we gather the information, we're gonna compile the information, make sure we continue to address that and create that message to our elected officials. So who's gonna start us off?
Who's gonna go first?
Who's gonna go first? I can start, because that's one thing I can do, I can talk. But I want to hear from my neighbors, I want to hear from my family members, I want to hear from my people that's been engaged in our city, our small business owners. If this water quality is affecting your small business, I want you to say that. If it's affecting your family, we should have that conversation. What would you like to see? In my opinion, I want a moratorium on any new development until our water issue is fixed. I think that'll hold people accountable, that'll hold the developers accountable and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to contribute to them fixing their water plant because we want to develop on this prized land. But until we do stuff like that, we're not going to get that type of interest. We're not going to get that help, and the administration is going to continue to tax the taxpayers. I don't know if you guys have, you're familiar or not, but the bonds that we just approved, a lot of those bonds didn't make much sense to me. And the reason why I say that is we were willing to tax the taxpayers that much money without even addressing our water quality issues. So you can't do redevelopment when your water is crappy. You can't do redevelopment when your small businesses are not thriving. You can't do redevelopment when your residents can afford to stay in the community that they were born and raised in. And at the rate that we're going, we're not going to be able to afford to be here. Our taxes have increased and have significantly increased over the years, and this bond referendums that we have approved, you will see that increase as the years go on. And granted, we needed a new police station. We did. But I don't think we needed 4 new fire stations immediately. Before a water plant, I didn't think we needed to do any collaboration with the school district for a new athletic complex before a water plant. Because guess what? Our kids are drinking this low quality water. So it's so many things that impact us, and it's time as residents for us to get up and stand up and say, no more. This is what we want to see. Let's not confuse the message. We want to come as a strong force to say, listen, enough with the bickering. This is what we want you to put in play. This is what we want to see. This is our list of demands, and we're going to come up here every day and talk about those demands until we see action. Because sometimes you need to change your leadership, but most times you got to hold your leaders accountable. Once they get in office, getting them there is the easy part. It's support and accountability once they get into those seats. So at this time, I walk with anybody, and don't, I know a lot of y'all names in here, so I'll call you out. I know you have a lot to say, and I know you have a lot of input to this discussion. Because if we want to compile a comprehensive list of what we want to see and what our demands are, and any idea is not a crazy idea. Hell, I just threw one out just now. Like I said, I want a moratorium on new development until our water crisis is fixed. Because how you redevelop areas when we already have fragile infrastructure? Like I said, I stay west of Military Trail. All water quality is the worst quality in the city. The water come out of our faucet is green. It is. The water pressure is not consistent. Last weekend, we didn't have any water. Found out last night it was because the water plant lost power. Did they provide us with a notification about a boil water notice? They didn't. So that's a demand right there. You have the duty to notify us when our water is at its worst quality, when we need to boil our water. We need to make necessary precautions to do so. That's a demand that we need to add to our list. We demand that you do so. If not, you're being negligent and borderline is criminal. So at this time, again, who's going to start us off with creating this list of demands?
Don't be shy and not all that.
And what's gonna happen is we'll speak on the items that concern you most, and then we're going to get into groups and according to priority. Water may, I don't wanna say water is not everybody's priority, but another issue may be, and then you'll break off in those groups, and then we're gonna write out strategies of how we handle leadership and putting things in place that we can do and hold them accountable, and then we'll go from there. So but right now, we're gonna keep it to 2 minutes, and we're gonna take as many people as possible. We do have a cutoff time, and then we'll do the workshop part. Thank you.
So Marla's just telling
And just a proper introduction. My name is Marvelous Washington, concerned resident here in the city of Riviera Beach. This is Miss Lady Goldwire. She's a stakeholder in Riviera Beach, former employee in Riviera Beach, Miss Chandra Stringer, a resident of the city of Riviera Beach, former candidate in the city of Riviera Beach. We're all positive stakeholders, advocacy. We are advocates and agitators sometimes in certain people's opinions. But what we do is for the betterment of the community, and we want to make sure the community is involved in any conversation, any action that takes place. So at this time, I have Mr. Terrence Davis that would like to make the first comment.
Good evening to everyone. Back in 2016, when I was on the council, this issue had came up in 2016. I declared a state of an emergency at that time and got the support along with Lynn Hubbard and others to get that done, which means that we was able to expedite permitting and bring contractors on board to get our water plant stabilized. It took us about 6 months and we did that as a team. This city was declared in turmoil after that. And it came from outside. We can no longer as a community be afraid to do what's right. And today everyone showed up, demonstrated that we're willing to do what's right. And we've been challenged time and time and time again. And the only thing I ask today is keep this start where we are now. Don't allow it to die down. Support whatever it is that we put together as an organization in this room tonight. I wasn't afraid of losing the seat to do what's right by the community. I'm gonna say it again. I wasn't afraid of losing a seat to do what's right by my community. People say, oh, I didn't like the way you did it. Well, my dad got sick and died out of nowhere. I didn't like that. I got sick. 8 visits in the hospital in the last 18 months. Okay? So there's no right way or wrong way to do what's right. Showing up is it. And I want to congratulate everyone in this room for showing up and being a part of what we've been trying to do for so many years. Thank you to everyone in this room who showed up. Thank you to the St. James family for opening up the doors of this church so that we can have a meeting. You can call it secret, you can call it public. It's a meeting. And don't let no one disconnect you from trying to do what's right by saying what type of meeting it is. It's a community meeting at a community facility. Everyone was invited, and I would encourage you to invite others to the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you. Anybody else would like to come up to the mic and have a conversation? You don't have to have a list of demands. Just get it out and let us know how you feel about the water situation. How do you feel about the meeting last night? How do you feel about what's going on in the city of Riviera Beach? What do you want to see? What do you want to happen in the city of Riviera Beach? This is our opportunity to do so. And again, there's no wrong or right answer. We all here with opinions. So, if you like me, I'm gonna say my opinion whether you like it or not, because that's just how I am. I'm a very opinionated person, and I'm a very people person, I'm sociable. So I like to have that conversation, I like to talk. So I want people to have that courage, and want you guys to get up and have that conversation too. Because a lot of times, you know, the best ideas are left unsaid. So please, you know.
And there's a thing you guys, one of the things we did ask for in this is we asked, and they have been very respectful of that request. I think we should give credit where credit is due. We asked that no seated city elected official come to this meeting tonight, not from a space of exclusion, but in the spirit of being able to allow us to kind of have a conversation and not feel like there may be judgment in whatever it is that you decided to talk about. So what I can say is, while we are streaming, this is an environment, and we asked to have it in a church environment so that community could feel comfortable and feel insulated with the understanding that we don't have anybody that's currently seated on the dais present in the room. We don't have members of executive management in the room. Everybody here is communal, stakeholder, employee-based, and we did that for you guys. So please feel free to speak your mind and speak it freely.
Good evening. My name is Verzell Perkins Young. I'm a local minister here in Riviera. I reside at 1556 North 24th Court, not too far down the street, and I did street ministry. I've been in my residence basically about 40 years, so I've seen this city change a lot. I think I have more of a comment. I've watched, you know, when I was growing up, there was businesses where 8th Street, which is now what, Barack Obama, Boulevard, it was just business, booming business on both sides, the Westers, the Grimsleys, the Bonders, Tiger, most of those businesses were black owned. Okay, I was talking to a business owner now, and I'm guilty, so I need to repent myself. We do not come out. I thank God for this meeting, because I am guilty of not coming out, pushing and being concerned enough to state our concerns, okay? And I just want to say we should continue to do this. And regarding last night's meeting with the water, I just would like to laud and applaud the mayor, because even though, from what my understanding is, that you have to have official approval by the council to suspend, and I love the city manager, Jonathan Evans, but I'm also an advocate of what is right. And sometimes it takes courage to step out on stuff that is right, even when everyone is against you. Okay? So I like to laud and applaud that, because as far as morale is concerned, years ago I heard you mention Doretha Perry and all those oldies but goodies. Okay? Ralph Franklin and the Detective Division.
Yeah.
Milton Perry and Charlie Perry. I go way back. I'm old.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
Okay, and it was just so much adhesiveness. Everybody cooperated, and this was years ago.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to a business owner, and she was saying at the meetings, the council meetings, sometimes she's the only one sitting there. We don't come together, and I just want to say we have to do better. And thank you all for spearheading this, because a lot of people are like me. You don't really think about it until you have a problem. But how will the problem get solved if we don't voice our concerns?
Amen.
Okay? So I think for anybody who's listening, be it council or a layperson such as myself, we should start getting to the meetings, doing what you all say, even for the next meetings, before we come. Since we know what we're coming for, just start jotting down the things. So we don't have to sit here and say, who's next? You know, and scared to come out. Because I feel free here in this environment to say what I like, and I appreciate that. And I think everybody, even at the city, should step up, step out, and do what you know is right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sorry, y'all, I gotta.
Good evening.
Looking at these eyes right here. All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tessie Watts. I am a resident of Riviera Beach, born, raised, educated, work, all that good stuff. I love my city. My parents, my mom, she still lives in my childhood home that I moved in. We moved there when I was in the second grade.
Oh,
So she's still there. And I am here tonight. Definitely, I support you ladies in what you're trying to do. And I think the key word here is solution focus. I've watched the session on last night in real time, first time in a long time, watching it in real time, so disturbed by it. It disturbed my sleep, which is something I don't allow, but I wanted to hear it real time. And it was pretty troubling to hear a lot of the things that was being said. But one of the things that I got, there are 5 persons up there on the diocese, but there were 30-something people who got up to talk, or maybe more, and I didn't hear one solution. You had 3 solid minutes, and you could have threw a solution out. We need solutions right now, and that's what brought me here tonight. I want to hear solutions. So I heard a quote, and I wanted to share this. And what the quote says is, don't let what you know, don't let what you do know hold you hostage to what you don't know. Come here with something new. We know how you feel about different people. We know that you got a personal vendetta against someone. You told us. We got it. It's on record. We can go back and see it. But now it's time for you to let that go and let's move forward. We live in a beautiful city, and I don't want it to be taken away from us. My daughter just moved into her first place here in the city, and she loves it. But again, we have to take care of our own because no one else will. So I am here to support you all. I'm here to support our residents. I'm definitely in support of all of these issues that we have here. If I had to choose one, it definitely would be employee morale. I'm a leadership consultant. I do this all day, every day, and I'm telling you, what was in that report is so disheartening. And there is work that needs to be done. So I'm here to put my voice to that area there. And I want some clean water too.
Yes.
But if I can support it anywhere, it would definitely be in the area of employee morale. And thank you for putting that option up there.
Okay. I have a question for you, Ms. Tessie, real quick, because it looks like we're doing good on time. With regard to you being a leadership consultant, and I know we'll get to delve into it more when we break out in the groups, for the sake of the entire group here, what do you think the primary thing you would need to do, or the city as a whole would need to do, forget the city, community needs to do, or if there's anything that can be done by community to help foster an improvement in employee morale?
And that's a big one there, and I have given it a lot of thought. I am definitely a supporter of how the process went to find out what was really going on. The investigation, I don't even call it an investigation, I just call it an informational session. That's what that was. You were able to communicate what was really going on. Because here's the thing, those employees had already been communicating their issues, but it hit a wall. No one wants to feel like my issues don't matter. And so I think that the mayor gave them an opportunity to break down that wall, put some paper and pen to it, and then they could communicate their issues. Now, how do we share with them that you've been heard? How do we show them that you're heard? And anyone that's coming after them, they need a voice. They need to know that my issue is my issue. Now, I'm not saying who was right and who was wrong, but I definitely applaud the fact that they had an arena where they could go and speak about what happened. Whatever happens from that point, let it happen. They should not be villainized. They should not be attacked in any way. They told their story. And so I think that's one of the things people want to know. Like they say, they don't care what you know until they know you care. Right? So they don't want to hear anything else from our council people. They don't want to hear anything else from any of us out here. They don't want to know, because they don't even know if we care.
Right.
They
That's a
don't
good
know.
point.
And so that was what the mayor did, was an opportunity to say that we care. We hear you. Okay, now how do we move forward?
We definitely need some persons with outside knowledge on how to do some conflict management.
Yes.
Here's the thing, it's not about resolving the conflict, let's just manage it. Because conflict is good when we learn how to manage conflicts. You know, because here's the key, everybody deserves the best version of us. And a lot of people are not giving the best version of them in these situations right here. Everybody has their own agenda, their own story, and I'm telling you, if you don't have Riviera Beach, the city of Riviera Beach's agenda at priority, you shouldn't get up here and say anything. The city is priority, but everybody wants to get up and tell what so-and-so did to them, and that's not helping us. Has it helped us yet?
No.
No, not at all. 3 minutes we get every single night to get up there every time there's a meeting, and we waste it.
Yep.
We waste it. We need some solutions. So I applaud the efforts that are being made. I do believe an outside consultant needs to come in and help fix the process of what, you know, the system and how things look right now. We're not going anywhere. The city is not going anywhere. So fix it, guys. It can be fixed. I really believe it can.
I definitely think we need to get
Thank
some.
you so much. Can we give everyone that's come up with, we're gonna continue because we got time. But I do wanna address something, Tessie. And for those that do go to the meetings, and thank you for bringing that out and holding us accountable as those, because I'm one of the ones that get up. But you, you really have to be there. You come with one thing on your mind. I promise you. I have my notes. I have these things, and this is why we're saying the council meetings are still necessary, but this kind of setting is even more necessary, because you'll come with your mind saying, I'm gonna say this and this and this, and you're sitting there and you're listening at the taunts, you're listening at the chuckles and the hackles and the nudges and all of those things, and emotionally you get up there and you be like, blah. So I don't want people to stop coming, but thank you for touching us on the shoulder to say, hey, you guys,
Pay attention.
pay attention what you're saying. And I told them today, I said, y'all gotta do better, because last night I was, I sat on the wrong side of the room. Right, I did. I sat on the wrong side of the room, and I had my points. I really did. But when you're there and you're in the heat of it, and now I understand why sometimes people of the community, the residents, don't come, because I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna say this, and I said it last night. The Thursday mornings that I leave from that meeting, I'm late for work, and I work for myself. I take 2 BCs. I gotta sit on the side of the bed and figure out what I'm doing for the next day. All of that, and so be prepared. Like I opened up with, when you say you want change, be prepared for the opposition. And so this is a space in where we're gonna hash these things out and go back into the arena and fight another day. More comments, please.
While we're deciding who's next, I want to say this, Tessie, thank you, because mile review is always a good thing, especially when the goal is to move people forward. To Chandra's point, the energy in the room, particularly last night, because the council, I don't think they give you a shot of the room, but last night's room was full of employees. You could feel the visceral energy of one of the young men who was there with his wife and his mom. You could the energy was such that in his trying to express his pain, you could see his mom trying to console him on the side, and his wife on her heels, because she wasn't sure what he was going to do next. The police officers, because this is a big guy, are ready and on their heels. You can't see it from the interior, and so when you have other people in the room who won't even open their mind up to what someone is saying. The mayor does a very good job, guys, of speaking in lay terms. He's not someone that'll give you pomp and circumstance. Typically, he's slow to speak. If he says much at all, it's not. So it takes a lot to kind of get where we are. But I can't imagine, and I can only equate it to him having been a pastor previously, where he's established a palette for patience. Because from what he said last night, you're talking about almost 600 days of employees saying to him this, that, and the other. We've had several deaths that you guys don't know about. We've had several employees that have had their body parts amputated as a result of induced stress. When you hear it and you're sitting next to people, I have chills. I've experienced it, true enough. It didn't even feel like anything I was familiar with. It was different to see it on men. The week before, I'm sure I can say this safely, Malcolm Summons had said the same thing and almost in tears. And you have these people from the audience shouting that it is a sham. There's nowhere for us to go on the other side of trying to appeal to the graces of our administration yet, until the administration understands two things. We are the power, the people. They are the tool. We are here today so we can find a way to take all of our power and harness it so that it is positive, so that if we don't turn people away because we seem as if we are not focused. We need help. We are tired, and I'm telling you, the employees at the city, here's the reality. The city can run for a period of time without executive management day to day, because most of the time they're doing emails and phones, they're not in their office anyway. Try running this city without 600 employees. See if somebody comes and does public works. You don't even think about your easements and your alleyways. You don't think about the life, day-to-day implications of getting back there mangled in your weeds that FP&L is not going to cut, that they get up there and do. 3 years ago, we had a young man cut himself in half and die in a well. They covered it up. And those same employees were asked to come to work day in and day out. The reward or the Band-Aid on that was to throw a $60,000 funeral on the taxpayers' backs to make it go away. And so when you get into these spaces and you're listening, you're thinking about solution, to Chandra's point, but you're also in a space where you want people to understand that people are hurting. And so now that we're all here in this facility, we're having a conversation. It started. It's incumbent upon us now. Because now you know. Now we got to do something.
Okay. If you're going to say something, go ahead and stand behind, because we're going to be closing it out. We got enough space for like 5 more people.
Okay, really quick, I just want to chime in on what's been asked of us, so I didn't get a chance to see the wall before. So
But that's going to be your breakout session.
We're going to
I ain't been straight along, so
Okay.
I can say put some stuff out.
Write it down.
So we're prioritizing
that.
that.
Water quality, one of the things I'm gonna
Write it
leave
down.
water quality. Right now, we have an architect design for the new water plant that's been at 30% completion for almost a year. You can't price that out until that's complete.
The
Okay?
designs are at
The
30%.
design's been at 30% for a year. The developer at hand been telling the city that we stuck at 30%, but they're gonna give us a price of $300 million. How do you get to $300 million?
Yeah,
First off, $100 million back in 2016. When we had the study and the information that said that you must put training in place so no one can get injured in how to function in the water plant. What happened? You spoke about. Michael Brown is the attorney that we hired to do the water report and do the training and put things in place for our city manager to run the city. There's a lot of information people leaving out, but let's make sure on water quality that this organization can ask, how soon can we get to a completed design
Status.
so we can get a guaranteed maximum price of what that plant is going to cost us? Because right now, the architect and the developer is holding us by hostage because we can't develop a water plant or get a price until you complete the design. So it's been at 30% for 3 months, for a year, and we done spent $9 million on the design that's not complete. Let's get a guaranteed price on even the design work. So I want to leave us with that piece when it comes to the water. Let's get a guaranteed price on the architect work and the design, and put it back out on the street so we can get the best by the law.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good stuff.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good.
First off, I want to thank our wonderful host, Reverend Dr. Green, me here, Lady Joe White, Marcus Washington, Sean DeStringer. This is special what you all put together. It means a lot being a young person from this community to see you all take a stand. So let's give them a round of applause. My name is Leroy Kelson IV, born here in Riviera Beach, Florida. Currently an administrator at Washington Elementary. I'll tell you, my life journey has taken me to the West Coast, taken me to the Midwest. One thing that has remained the same for me, I wore Riviera Beach on my sleeves with pride. I see a title up there that says our future. I would like to see more civic engagement for our youth. I can go on and on about water quality. I can go on and on about employee morale. But at the end of the day, our residents have to understand and have the skill set to hold our elected officials accountable. When I go into my school setting every day, right up the street at Washington Elementary, I see young children in the community oozing with Riviera Beach pride. Like, that's the same pride that I had growing up in this community. I received great education through the school district of Palm Beach County, but it was the people in the community that truly educated me. It was my football coaches, it was my teachers, it was my grandparents, it was my mother, it was friends, it was neighbors, it was those people that took me by the side. So for a young child from Riviera Beach, this means everything to me to see you all here. I hope that you all will continue to come together like this. Let's grab our young people, let's put them together, and let's start making steps moving forward for a better Riviera Beach. I'm telling you, it's different. I think it's the educator in me, but when I go into that building every day and I see those young smiles and I see those young kids looking at me, Mr. Kelson, you just ran for president. No, I didn't run for president. I ran for city council. I ran for city council in Riviera Beach, but what it did for them is it gave them a visual, a model to look forward to. So now I have kids saying, you know what, Mr. Kelson, I do want to play in the NFL, I do want to play in the NBA, I do want to be a rapper, but being an elected official, being a council member in the great city of Riviera Beach is something that I now strive to do. So I just wanted to come here and make sure that I give my 2 cents and really just voice my pride for this city and a pride that will never waver. I'll continue to stay here, I'll continue to show up. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Miss Hubbard.
Good evening. I too want to thank you for the opportunity to come up here and speak tonight. This is great that you guys have put this together. Let me say that I agree with Leroy and all the others that say we love Riviera Beach and we have pride for Riviera Beach. But what I don't agree with is we shouldn't be placating to people that we pay handsomely about what we want for our city. It has to be in a manner where it's understood that us as residents and us as the citizens of, we elect people that stand in the corner and beg for our votes that should have our best interests at heart. And when you have employees that are there that are not doing that, and you don't have the backbone or the heart to remove them, you've already told us what we need to know is that you don't care for us or our city. Conflict and confrontation is sometimes necessary for social change. We would not be having the debates on TV that we have. We would not be standing here fighting issues that about our clean water if we did not create conflict and confrontation, because no one is going to give up power or authority just for the mere sake of giving it up. Until all of us get out in the community, until all of us go door to door, until all of us say, hey, we can't unseat you, because the quality of life determines why people don't go out to vote. When they say that black people don't go out to vote, Riviera Beach don't go out to vote, because the quality of life don't change for us regardless of who's in office. And until we come together and unify and show that we will change the quality of our life. Because the only way we can is we can come together, not because we want to placate elected officials. Elected officials need to be kissing our ring. We don't need to be kissing their ring. We need to say to you, you're nice, you're kind, developers that are not even paying as much as impact fees. Who does that? You can't get any land back. Why would you be giving away land that the residents of Riviera Beach pay handsomely for if it's not going to trickle down and improve the quality of our life? We bring big developers here to build this, big developers here to build that. What do? They bring their friends from all across the country to do the building. We got contractors, subcontractors, professional service people, but we allow them to come in and dictate and tell us how this is going to go. When we need to be telling them, okay, you might very well build that Winn-Dixie, but your bricklayers won't be coming from out of town. There will be ours that are here. That's the only way we can create wealth. That's the only way we can change the quality of life for ourselves. Yes, the water is bad, and we need to do something about that. But that's not rocket science. We have all the evidence that we need to know that our city administration have not looked out for our best interests. We have people that are sick, people that have been going to the hospital. Why is it so hard for our elected officials to get rid of that person, hire somebody that can do it? Why? Because some of our elected officials, I don't want to paint everybody with a broad brush, but when you're only interested in your wife wearing red bottom shoes, you wearing this dress, you the only one living in this neighborhood, and you the only one have these kind of clothes on our backs at our expense. I'm not saying you taking our money and paying for it, but you sitting there paying attention to the wrong thing because why? You can either you stupid or you are taking money. There's no way. You should be doing us a disservice and letting this stuff happen unless you're a part of the problem or somebody's paying you to allow you to do this to us. So why would you sit up there and allow these bad things to happen to the residents of Riviera Beach who trust you? But I want to say the only thing that's going to change any of this is the grassroots neighborhoods, the people in our community coming together, telling your neighbors, telling the people in the grocery store, telling the people in your church, telling the people, this person, those people are bad for us. We need to get rid of him, her, or whomever so that we can put somebody in here who has our best interest, but we will continue to drink bad water. We will not make any money off of the development that's going on in the city of Riviera Beach.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your comment.
Good evening. I was glad when I got a text from Sandra that we was going to be having a meeting night. So scripture in my mind, I said, well, let us go into the house of the Lord where we can speak truth and clarity. I prayed with last night, 3 minutes, spoke about being a victim as an entrepreneur working for the city of Riviera Beach for 10 years and threatened that they would fire me if I didn't quit asking questions. And then Hubbard was the one that actually answered the questions that I was seeking for so long. She's the one that sat down and said, you know, you should be making a certain amount of money from this contract. But when she looked at the contract on the computer and realized that the contract was suspended, that's when the shell broke. And that's when I knew that the city of Beach was crooked. With that being said, I told them last night that I'm 1%, which I will be presenting to everyone in here, a report of water that shows a pattern. I got this report from my classmate, Michael Brown, who I talk to at least once a week. And what we're going to do, I'm going to break that down and show everybody a pattern of our water from 2008 all the way until currently now. And that pattern is going to indicate the same thing that caused people to get terminated, like Ruth Jones, who was the water city manager, the city manager at that time. So, as we keep having the meetings, I will be presenting some information to y'all about quality water. Now, at the beginning of the year, utility district had a water district workshop. I spoke with McCoy there, I spoke with Jonathan there, and at this workshop, I don't know if any of y'all know about it, we were actually going over really tied in on clean water, but you must understand the foundation is where it starts. You can't build a plant unless you build the foundation.
Absolutely.
The foundation, solid rock, which I stand a lot, but the ground is sinking sand. Your foundation is important. And so they elaborated, they had a workshop and showed us and told us. Young man Joe last night was one of the guys that asked a bunch of questions about pipes and things of the infrastructure. And he was giving me answers, you know. And this guy I realized last night was going through torment in the workplace, hostile. And I felt sorry for the young man because I didn't know it had got that bad. But I will present that information to y'all, bits and pieces. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you all for hosting this. I'm Cindy March. I've been an advocate for the city of Riviera Beach for over 30 years. It gives me joy to be able to knock on you all's doors as residents of the city of Riviera Beach, to have a candid conversation with you all about our city and our leadership. And I've always tell you, don't let me tell you who to vote for. Learn your candidates for yourself. You know you have experienced some leadership with the water, employment morale, or our futures for our youth. You know when it's time for a change. When you can't even live in the city that you were born and breathed and raised in, because they don't allow the big developers to come in here and put a $300,000 price tag. You and I can't afford that. We have to work 2 or 3 jobs. So this here, I would like to see a lot of our residents out and get involved with the city meeting. I know you're sick and tired and sick. I'm so tired and sick. And I can be so aggressive and unhumble. But I'm asking the Lord to work on my heart. I'm asking him every day to heal me with my anger and my malices that I have for some of our leadership in the city of Riviera Beach. Because I love my city. I was 14 years old working at Public Works with my first job when we had what you call the Summer Youth Employment Program. So our kids didn't have to stand on the store for a drug dealer to give them some drugs to $200 shoes. I went to work picking up trash with Willie both days. Emma Bates was my mentor. Lynn Hubbard, I got to know her years ago. I have nothing but respect. I mean, we're gonna have to learn as a whole. It's not about black and white. It's about do what's right. We have to take care of our own. If we don't take care of our own, we gonna fall. We're not going back. As long as I got breath, I'm gonna continue to knock on the doors. I'm gonna call you out when you need to be called out. Am I always right? No. But I will be the one to say I'm sorry. You have to give me my space for me to even give you an apology, because I'm not always right. But I have seen so much happen in the city of Riviera Beach because of power. We got to stop putting politics before the people. We got to have this clean water. We have underlying conditions. We have to do the employment morale, and we need to ask ourselves, what if it was us? Then we can start making a difference for everybody. If we won't change, let's change. Let's do this thing together. We got this.
To everyone here, the citizens, and these beautiful, beautiful, inspired, educated young men. I'm so proud.
Thank you.
And my young brother that ran for the council today. He's their future. I would just like to say, I know you're talking about the water, but this is something like when I put water for my dog. This is how green it be. I put bleach in it to change it, be clear enough for the dog to drink. So we know that's a priority. You know, like you say, money answers all things, but the love of money is the root of all evil. So we love money and love it and don't use it for the right purpose. It's not going to benefit those who is in love with it for evil. So we want to do what these young ladies here have started. You know, I think we have too as President Obama said, move, but vote. We want us to get out and do the right thing. Let us come as a community to talk to one another and do those things right. You know, some people say they got favoritism. We all be like that, but we got to do the favoritism for the right thing. Do the right thing for our community. And you hear them say the time the opportunity list that her father, baby G. Washington, and all those people, the young people that was here. And they was here in the city. I remember one, you might say she not scary. I used to be one scary lady. You hear me? Real scary. But I'm not coming down from fire, so nothing, but I actually couldn't get there to say anything. But we here to make sure our city will flourish like it has been and will be and can be. Because it's us. It's us. And you hear the young people say, Uskin? It's all of us. We must get together and do the right thing.
Thank you.
Wesley Shula, how y'all doing?
Hi, Leslie.
I'm gonna give you the blueprint of what y'all need to do. This blueprint requires, and I hate to say it, but like Bruce Guyton said, data, documented evidence. That's what y'all need to present to them. Because you know on one side, she want the evidence. With the other one, Commissioner, she want evidence. So what you do is, fighting the water issue, get the health department involved. See if they can come to the city council meeting. So y'all can hear it from they self, that it won't be one side, that side, or the middle side. That's what you do. You get the health department involved, and then once you get them involved, then you can start attacking that issue with them, showing them where all the problems at. Because they hearing it one-sided, meaning like they don't want to hear what you got to say. Then second, with the employees, that's a serious issue by itself. Because a hostile environment, we don't even play that at our funeral home. That would never happen. Because that right there will get you fired right off point. So what you do is start getting the right people involved and start doing your own investigations. Because they're gonna do their investigation, but they may end up covering it up. So what you do, when you do that, then you put all the pieces in the pie together, and then that's when you start attacking the issue real hard with them.
Thank you. I definitely want to hear Scott. Hi, Scott.
I'm going to be jumping around a little bit, but Scott Lewis, and I was born in West Palm. You know, the last 3 meetings of the city council, except for what the public said, I don't think I heard water talked about by one of the 5 council members. It got lost. It got lost in a weeds battle about language, about the charter, and who gives a crap. I'm sorry, I'm saying my church. All right. I got that now, sorry. You know, that's 3 meetings. They probably cost $5,000 to $10,000 a meeting for all that staff in there. Total wasted. Never heard the word water from out of any of them up there, or the staff. Yes, the public, Cindy, I know Cindy talked about it, I talked about it. You know, the $115 million in bond issues, I have railed against that and railed. And one of my thoughts, and I've been asking, like I heard you all talk about moratorium earlier. To me, put a damn moratorium on spending that money until they disclose how we are going to afford a $500 million water plant. Stop spending capital money. Stop it. And you know what the strong thing, if 15 or 20 of these people went up at one meeting, and they didn't have to say a 3-minute speech, they stood up there and say, I vote. And in March, my vote is going to whoever's paying attention to me. And my issue is drinking water. So when you sit up there, remember, I'm going to vote against you if you don't take care of my water. It's priority number 1. I don't need a park. I don't need a gold-plated fire station when the guys can stay in a hotel for the amount of money they're doing. It's don't need that. I would ask you to adjust your thought about a moratorium on development, because I think the moratorium ought to be on the capital spending from the city. The developers are where the money's gonna come from. There's a young lady who said they need to pay more. I get that. But the developers in that new community, that new tax money is what's gonna help pay for all this problems you got. And so, you know, I'm on the audit committee. I wanna see the public pushing for a forensic audit. It's $250,000. It will uncover what's happened. And I know there's smoke all over the place in this city. I've gone to about a dozen meetings. Something's wrong. Something's really rotten. Get a forensic audit. All right? The second part, the internal auditor quit last year. Evans used the excuse that it wasn't enough pay for a new auditor. That's why for 16 months there's been no internal auditor in the city. When all this shenanigans been going on, all these special meetings about the bonds out in the community, all right? Something's weird here. And where there's smoke, there's fire. Get at the internal auditor. He said it himself sitting up there. I can afford, as the manager, I can afford to pay more to this one person to hire a good person. Well, then why the hell haven't you done it?
Right.
I know why, because you don't want the headache. And you need leadership in this city. And that's what's lacking. And I'm sorry, if it's not Evans, then I gotta look to Lawson and the council. But if they want to keep voting consistent with not paying attention to water, vote them out. Because the biggest thing you've got is your vote and your mouth.
Amen. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
So one night I was watching TV because I'm asleep. I was watching the upstate New York. They was having a city council meeting. And this husband and wife brought their 8-year-old daughter in. They brought her in, brought up a little stool. They put her to the mic. They were getting ready to demolish a park. A park had 2 seats and a pond. She said, please don't demolish the park. I won't be able to go feed the turtles each and every day after I get out of school. Please don't, I'm begging you. They were gonna tear down the park and build an expensive condo. After the young lady spoke, they declined to turn down the park and build that condo so that little girl can go to the park every day and feed 1 turtle. The moral of the story is you have to show up to the meetings. You have to. An 8-year-old little girl had the city council turn down a $300 million condo project for her to get to a park to feed 1 little turtle because her and her parents showed up. You have to show up. You have to show up. If you're not going to be heard, you must be seen. Because when they see you in these empty chairs, when they get full, they know, oh, these people mean business. First of all, and I appreciate y'all. I'm a Riviera Beach resident, born, bred, and raised. I like, I'm let it go. I'm from the raw. I'm here, born, bred, and raised. But moral of the story is you guys, you have to show up. If you do not show up, you're letting them know that everything they do is okay. You're not that what they're doing is fine. It's fine. You know, you don't care. Because if you care, you'll show up. People don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. Show up.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And listen, to piggyback off of that, that's why we're having this conversation. So when we show up, we're talking about these list demands.
Yes.
We're talking about solution driven.
Yes.
We're talking about how we can save our city, how we can prevent some of these problems happening, what our ideas are on what needs to improve. Not just complaints. And that's what we gotta get away from. And like we've always said, we get up there, sometimes we lose our train of thought. But that's why we're having this workshop. So that we can go ahead and educate ourselves, talk with each other, listen to each other's ideas without any biases or any negativity. And take what we want to talk about from this meeting to that podium for those 3 minutes. And be consistent in the conversations that we have at that podium. Watch and see what type of a difference you will see when we are very consistent with our message on what we want to see within our city. How your elected officials will change. We've put up there to provoke that type of narrative, to create that type of behavior, and that is not who we are. That's not who we are as City of Riviera Beach residents. I was born and raised here. I was raised by my neighbors, employees in the City of Riviera Beach with role models for me. When my mom wasn't home, dad wasn't home, that's who raised us. And we have that same traditional city here. That's why our churches are thriving. That's why we still in the congregation. So tonight, we want to make sure we come up with the same talking points. And I'm gonna have Ms. Stringer lead us in that. And we'll be really quick, don't want to keep you long, but when you leave out of here, the next council meeting, you're not gonna be hesitant to go up there on the mic, because we had this workshop, and we tell you, this is what we want to do as a community. And the next meeting we're gonna have, you're gonna bring 500 people, and they're gonna sit in that workshop, and they're gonna learn what we need to hear in the community, and they're gonna go to the mic with the same message. Imagine what that looks like. Imagine what that looks like.
All right, so here we are. We're gonna take maybe about 10 to 15 minutes at best, because we're definitely gonna stick to our time and have you out. If water quality is a priority for you and you want to address that, can you please come to the front on this side? Water quality is your top priority that you want to provide solutions for. You're gonna come to where Marvelous is. And we're moving swiftly. Employee morale testing, we're gonna deputize you. And you're gonna go on that side. You can grab that. And we have markers for you and some writing utensils. And the last one is our future. If you're concerned, Nicole, can I deputize you? If you're concerned about the next generation being in leadership, letting your voices be heard, taking on leadership roles, the pretty lady in the purple, she gonna get me late, but I got the mic right now. Employee morale is on this side. Nicole Denise is going to champion our future right here, and water quality with Marvelous there. We're going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, and you're going to hash out whatever solutions that you're thinking that will help this cause.
So we need to give them a captain and get a captain to mark.
Nobody cares about our future?
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's what she gave us.
All right, everybody out there happy home? And if you have solutions to more than one situation, you can jump from spot to spot. And say, this is important, I want to do this over here.
Before we close out everything, and I know everybody's chit-chatting. Can I get a just quick recap? How did you feel about this workshop tonight? Can I get a thumbs up, thumbs down? Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So before we close out, your email addresses that we have, we're going to compile all these listings so that you would have them. So when we do go up to that mic on the meeting, if you feel like you need to say something during the meeting, if you want to do a public comment, you know how to stay on track, and we always talk about the same thing consistently as we get to the microphone, because guess what? We had a workshop about it. So we want to make sure we're having a consistent conversation so they're tired of hearing about us. Now, as you guys know, we never have a workshop without a purpose. It is election season. We have postcards that will be located in the back for you guys to pick up and take home. There's a QR code on the front of those flyers that allow you to update your registration info. You guys hear me? Almost like I'm in front of the classroom. You hear me clap once. So, but again, it's election season. So we have postcards, you can update your email addresses, your addresses, any pertinent information that you need to be able to vote. I want everybody to be ready to vote. Some of you guys got your vote by mail. Please make sure you print your name on that ballot, you sign your name on that ballot. Do not give them any reason to look at your ballot and throw it out. Make sure you sign your name according to your driver's license, okay? Make sure you be informed on who you're voting for. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, but I'm telling you need to vote. Because as an elected official, as the elected, people that run for office, the first thing we look at is, do this area vote? Does this neighborhood vote? Not who you vote for, do you vote? And that's how we determine, the elected official determine whether or not they listen to your needs. Because I'm being honest. Because we have to know, they have to know that you're going to show up to the ballot. You're going to show up to the precinct and vote. That's the first thing they look for as your voting citizen, not who you vote for. Everybody understand what I'm saying? So we need to make sure not only you go and vote, you take 5 people in your household to vote with you. We cannot sit this one out. Early voting starts October 21st. Please, Wells Recreation Center is an early voting site. Make sure you're the first, second, third, fifth in line. Any questions in regards to voting? Yes. Oh.
When does early voting start? If I vote by mail, when does that start?
Vote by mail ballots are in your mailbox now. So you can send in your ballot now. Make sure when you submit your vote by mail, it gets to the supervisor of elections by 7 o'clock at the end of election day, not postmarked by. Okay? Personally, I don't vote in person during early voting. That's just how I am. I love to socialize and vote. But I just want to make sure that everybody's prepared. Early voting starts October 21st. Okay? Any questions about early voting? Make sure you get your postcards so you can scan the QR code and make sure your information is up to date. Please do not wait for election day to go vote. If you're a resident of Riviera Beach just like I am, you know that your precinct changes constantly. So that's why I early vote. I'm going to tell you right now, I might know what my precinct is and I might not. And I am a consistent voter. I am a super voter. Yes.
Last question. If we have children or grandchildren or friends who are not registered to vote, when is the deadline for us to get them registered so they can vote in the November election?
Deadline to register to vote is October 7th. Okay. The deadline to register to vote is October 7th. Alright, so make sure we have people in our household that are registered to vote and ready to vote. You got kids in college, get them registered to vote. That's why you can send that QR code. Yeah, we got the cards. Mm-hmm.
My last voting experience, your handwriting changes over
Yes,
the
it
years.
does.
So now they are checking that.
Yes.
And I almost didn't vote because
Yes.
I was young lady when I got my voters.
Yes.
And now I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
And so check that, you know.
Check your signatures, guys. Check your signatures. Make sure your signatures correlates to your ID because they're looking at your signature to your ID. Yes.
Some people actually
correct party. Make sure your address is correct, make sure your signature match. We have flyers in the back with QR codes, take them home to young people in your house. Let them go ahead and scan it, they on their phone anyways on TikTok. Let them scan it and do what they need to do as far as register to vote. Any other questions or concerns as it relates to voting? You guys have to close the comments.
So please make sure that we get the postcards back. Okay, they're not here to take with you. We have pens if you need them. Remember, this is your commitment to stay engaged. If you know people that are not here, please take some of the cards with you and we'll pick them up. You can bring them by my office, put them in the mail slot, whatever. This is not a one-off. This is something we're going to continue. Are you with us? Yes. I need you to say it louder. Are you with us? Yes. Thank you. And before lady take the mic. How can anybody get 2 or 3 people just to say how you feel tonight for being here? Anybody? Anybody else before Lady closes us out?
Good evening, everyone. I will not take up much of your time. I wanted to personally come to thank many of you as I interviewed as a finalist for the CRA Director of Riviera Beach. As we know, I was not victorious. They chose to send it back out. But as a resident, and I was born and raised in the city of Riviera Beach, I wanted to personally thank you all during this time for reaching out to me on Facebook in the grocery store. And when you have seen me, I've had actually someone waiting outside my home. I am Nikki Austin Shook. I was actually born and raised in Riviera Beach. I grew up in St. James. My father was the assistant pastor and a code enforcement officer for the city of Riviera Beach. And my parents recently passed, along with my mother-in-law, who we buried all of them in this same sanctuary which we are standing today. But I want you all to be encouraged. But this is why we have not come back. So for many years, I've lived in other cities and states around the country, and the question that they've always asked my parents is, will they come back? But you're not received well for your talents and gifts when you come back. I work in a municipality currently for the city manager's office with over 200,000 residents, and we don't have any of this going on. And so I want you all to stay the course, whatever that is, stay the course and be encouraged, because a change will have to come. By design or default, a change will have to come. So thank you for your time and thank you for supporting me during that time as well.
Thank you. Anyone else before we close out? Is the shepherd here? You just waving. Okay. All right. Once again, we will test it. Yes, we're going to type them up and email them. Please make sure you sign the sign-in sheet. We do not do spam, okay? This is for us to communicate with you. Sometimes there are emergencies that may come up. There are other things that's going to come up. And then also, this is the way we'll communicate with you when we hold our next meeting. This is not just one meeting. This is something we're going to continue. And I'm going to beg of you, please bring 5 more people. Bring 5 more people, because we started something and we're going to finish it the right way. All right? Please make sure you sign the sign-in sheet. We'll take those pledge cards back, please, and we're going to mail them back to you.
Thank you, Sandra. I just want to say thank y'all for having this meeting. You know, when we talk about the voice of people, this is what it's about, and people have a voice. As y'all know, I am the state senator for this particular area. I'm still the state senator until November the 4th at 11:59. So if you need something from the state office, 561-650-6880. I wasn't going to say anything. I'm just sitting here to listen, but I will tell you, of course, this was my preschool. Me and Jatelsa went to kindergarten together and elementary school. And my dad, you know, in the house that I grew up in, still in the city of Riviera Beach, so my biggest issue is water quality, right? There's no reason that we live in a city where we've got all these bonds and the water bill is 3 times as much as it was when I lived in the house, and he can't even drink the water. So we're gonna fix it, whether it's at the state level, the county level, or the city level. We've gotta have it fixed, that's it. With that being said, thank y'all for the opportunity, and I'll see y'all.
So I did excellent time. I appreciate you guys, the team, the team that put the issue that we got out. 8 o'clock was our target. We're at 7:43 and we got a lot done. I want to applaud each and every one of you for carving out some space in your day or evening to do this, because I know everybody works hard, work late, have to get up and go to work in the morning. And it is not lost on us that you guys are equally as committed to this as us. You see what we're trying to do. I believe that any good effort applied with a little pressure, small amount of conflict and confrontation will get us exactly where we need to be. With that said, I do want to segue for just 2 minutes for the sake of time and say to you, Ms. Austin, I watched your interview. You were prolific. You were stellar. I saw you see what was happening, but I saw you press through regardless. You are exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about succession and being born here, raised here, parents here. There is this narrative that is a bad thing when we know exactly what it was, so we know exactly what it can be, what it should be. I saw you, and I am not in awe of many people in their comings and their goings, because I believe we're all equally talented, but madam, you are above average. And I don't know how we circle back and how we get to you again, but you feel like home. And I don't know what will happen, but I am certainly looking forward to you putting your name back in the hat, because it'll look very different. With that said, I want you guys to also take a moment really quick. This woman here on the end, Sharon the Stringer, is one of the hardest working community people out there. If she's not putting forth or putting together businesses, and guys, she do a lot of stuff. Marvelous, you guys don't see it. She is advocating each and every day behind the scenes to push what matters to you forward. So please make a conscious effort when you see these names and you see the initiatives that matter to them, support, because you don't have it often. We've got quite a few business owners in the building, you guys who own businesses, Shed, responsible for managing and getting 30-some plus businesses certified through Congress County program, all of his own accord. You guys, we have the ability to be amazing and great. Thank you for coming out. We'll get all of this stuff compiled and succinctly sent over to you. Just give us a couple of days, and then we'll keep you abreast of our next show. Have a good night. Oh, no, we can't do that. Where is Pastor Drayton, Dr. Drayton? Oh, sir, you were the ordained 24-year-old minister in orthopedic surgeon. You can certainly pray us out. Y'all didn't clap for that. Y'all hear what I'm saying? We are putting something together now to see. We would expect 4 or 5 people, and y'all doubled that. We got quite a bit to put together, but as soon as we get it, we'll get you a date. Sir? We got food? Oh.
There's food on the other side. You can go to the double doors.
It was brought in. We didn't do it.
Oh, yeah, we don't.
Food that was brought in.
It was brought in, but it's a blessing somebody like
You know what I'm saying? We don't cook. We just let know we not domestic.
And let's start this for word of prayer.
Hey guys, we're about to pray.
Dear Heavenly Father, we say thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity for us to gather together as concerned citizens, as concerned people of the community that want to see this city and this community thrive. Father God, we know that we are yours, called by our names, And Father God, we know that we are able to do anything as long as we have you as our foundation. We ask that you give us the peace, the wisdom, the understanding, the guidance to move forward, to keep love first, and to make sure that we are keeping each other accountable. Iron sharpens iron. Let us be that iron